How to stop being nervous in social situations. It is a question that comes up time and time again, and in actual fact, it appeared on my YouTube channel the other day where somebody left a comment on one of the videos and it said, "I'm very nervous during speeches and social situations. And when I'm nervous, I forget what I wanted to say and I freeze up, which ruins my speech. I've been trying to change how I think, but it is still a problem. Do you have any tips to help with this? Thanks." Well, yes, I do have some tips, and I'm going to share some things with you in this video. Now, as we do this, as I share these tips with you, I want you to think about this from two aspects. One is that if you are asked to deliver a presentation, now that might be to just 3 or 4 people, it might be to a room of, say, 10 people, or it could be a much larger audience. Also, think about it from the point of view of if you are in a social situation, so one-on-one, maybe a networking event, maybe a conversation with somebody. These 3 things that I'm going to share with you, they're not going to get rid of the nerves completely. However, they're going to help you dramatically in helping you reduce the amount of nerves that you feel. So the first thing is all around preparation. So first of all, let's look at this from the point of view of delivering a speech. If you've got to deliver a speech, preparation, knowing what you're going to say, is key in helping you feel more confident. That whole idea of feeling prepared, it sets you up for a really great speech. Now, I'm not one who likes to script my presentations. This video now, for example, it isn't scripted. However, what I have done is I've written down a few bullet points that I want to make sure that I cover as I go through this video. Because I have the knowledge already, all I need is those little bullet points to then guide me along the information that I want to share. The one thing that I will say though is that I will normally rehearse the very first line and also the closing line that I'm going to say. So that's something that I will get clearly into my mind. The reason for this is because when you've rehearsed that first line, that opening line, the moment that you've got that line out, it allows you to relax. It sort of lets you know that you are, okay, right, we're in the moment, I'm delivering a presentation, but at least I've got that first line out. We quite often worry about stumbling over that first line. So when I used to work on the cruise ships, for example, I had rehearsed the opening line and had it down absolutely solid so that I knew that in those first 20 seconds, I would be opening strong. Now, the reason as well, while I also rehearse what I want to say at the end, is because should at any point in time during your speech or your presentation, you forget or you get a little bit lost, rather than finishing on a bit of an and ah and, oh, I don't really know what's going on, once you know that final closing line, it allows you to finish strong as well. Remember, the audience don't know exactly what you're going to say, so if you miss some things out, that really doesn't matter. Let's now take this to a more conversational side of things. So let's say that you're one-on-one with somebody, you're at a networking event, and you're in a conversation and you're worried that you're going to suddenly run out of things to say. My advice here would be to memorize between 3 and 5 different questions or conversation starters that you can just have in the back of your mind. Now, what I would normally do is I would say save 4 or 5 of these on your phone so that you can remind yourself of them if you are at a networking event. But just have 4 or 5 sort of go-to conversational starters that are then rehearsed so that if at any point in time during a conversation, you find that things are starting to go a little bit south, things are not sort of gelling quite so well, you've got those conversation starters that you can fall back on. One little bonus tip here actually with the one-on-one conversations is if you ever find that a conversation is starting to go stale, you can use fantasy questions or the sort of, when I say fantasy questions, what I mean is things like, look, if you won the lottery or if money was no object, what would you do? Those sort of things there, they naturally they induce a spark back into a conversation because we like those like what if kind of questions. So that is number 1. Make sure that you are well prepared before a presentation or before you enter into a networking event. The second tip is all around your body language. The way that we use our body affects how we feel. So before you get up to give a presentation or before you walk into a networking event or approach somebody at a networking event, you want to be really aware of how you've been using your body language. Now, Amy Cuddy did a really great TED talk on this, so all around the idea of using power poses to affect how we feel. This is something which I have done now for years before I go up on stage or before I'm about to jump onto, say, a call with a client on Zoom. I will spend a couple of moments just making sure that I'm using my body language in a way that is confident, it is open, it is upright. It makes me feel better when I then go into that conversation or when I then walk out onto that stage. It sounds a little bit simple and a little bit sort of like that can't make a difference. Trust me, it does. It is very, very, very powerful. And most of the entertainers and speakers that I know, they will also do the same thing. They will have this sort of pre-presentation or pre-conversation ritual that they'll go through that gets them into the right state. And the third and final thing that I'm going to share in this particular video is to slow down. Now, this is something which you want to be aware of while you are in a conversation or while you're delivering a presentation. When we are nervous, when we are fearful, we naturally start to speed up. And as I've just mentioned in point number 2, the way that we use our body affects how we feel. So if we're using our body in a fast and an erratic way, it's going to naturally make us feel a little bit more nervous, a little bit more vulnerable, and it's going to increase that anxiety that we're feeling. So what then happens is the brain and the mouth, they start to go out of sync, and that's when you end up in that position where your mind goes blank and you don't know what you're going to say. So whenever you're in a situation where you're feeling stressed out, where you're feeling a little bit panicked, where you're feeling a little bit nervous, my advice is to slow down. And if you only took this one tip from this video and you started to use this, and here's the thing, you can use this slow down tactic, not just in presentations, not just when you're having a conversation. You can also use this slow down tactic if you're just generally feeling stressed out throughout the day. By slowing down, it will have a calming effect and it will help you remember what you want to say. It's going to make you feel more centered and more composed in the moment. So those are the 3 tips. Those are 3 things that are going to help you get over those nerves or dissolve those nerves, that anxiety around either giving a presentation or when you are in those social situations. So the first one was, remember, preparation is the key. Second thing is use your body language before you've entered up onto the stage or before you've entered into that networking event or that conversation in a way to tell your mind that, yes, you feel confident. And then the third thing is to slow down. The moment that you start to feel nervous or anxious, slow everything down. It's going to help you remain composed and remember what it is that you want to say. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure you hit that subscribe button below and I'll see you in the next video.